Run to the Hills is an absolute classic, and I'm using it in this video completely legally. No demonetization, no takedown requests, and no copyright strikes to worry about. In this video, we're going to look at the ongoing struggle between content creators and copyright holders, specifically the labels and musicians whose music content creators want to use, and a company that's working hard to bring them together. First though, coffee. Welcome to Happily Ever Music, the YouTube channel celebrating all aspects of music, from business and production to just talking about great bands and influential people in the music industry. My name is Elmer, and when I decided that I wanted to start a channel focused on the music industry, I immediately started thinking about copyright issues, particularly within the context of YouTube, and I really wondered if there wasn't a safer way to use copy-protected music in a video without the threat of demonetization, takedown requests, or copyright strikes constantly looming overhead. Research initially turned up nothing useful. Really, it was use royalty-free music or use the YouTube free music library. Not that there isn't some great music on there, but, no chart-topping artists or anything like that. But then I came across Lickd, a company that is tackling the problem head-on. Before we check them out, I think it's worth looking at the issue in a larger context, namely because of the things people say when they get a takedown request or copyright strike or they get demonetized. I've seen content creators get super upset, claiming that it would only be good for the band, maybe exposing them to new fans, etc., which may be true. It is well documented that songs that appear in movies often experience an uptick in popularity. The most notable case for my generation, I'd say, I think would be Bohemian Rhapsody in Wayne's World. Thanks to that completely epic scene of them just driving around in the little, a little AMC Pacer or something like that. Anyway, driving around in some beat up old car, just rocking out to Bohemian Rhapsody. Well, yeah, the track itself shot back up to the charts. I think it hit like number 2 or something, and that was 17 years after it was released. But in order to use Bohemian Rhapsody in the production, the production company had to obtain a license for which they paid money for. Licenses for using a piece of music in a film are known as sync licenses, and they give the production the right to synchronize that musical piece to a picture. And of course, depending on the agreement, in addition to the flat sync fee that is paid out, the rights holders for that song may also receive royalties every time that movie or episode airs. In your own YouTube videos, of course, you can always try the sort of fair use clause that exists in copyright law. However, with a few exceptions, there's little standardization regarding, the sort of fair use definitions across the different countries, making it far from a sure thing. A lot of people think that if they're making educational videos, that falls under fair use. However, this is a tricky area as well. What defines an educational video? Are you talking about elements of a song that you think make it special? Or are you analyzing and explaining the structure of a song to help others understand a particular genre or style of music? And does that then give you carte blanche to use a song any way you want? Not necessarily. In any case, where a party has filed a copyright claim resulting in either a takedown request or copyright strike, the end decision, short of taking the matter to court and putting it in the hands of a judge, will be up to the copyright holders. Given the costs and time associated with taking legal action, it's hardly worth it to try and prove your case just to keep one video online. But I get it. It sucks. And this is where Lickd comes in. Lickd is a company that is trying to bring together content creators and music copyright holders together to make copyright strikes, takedown requests, and demonetization things of the past. Now, how do they do it? Well, by offering a per-use license for each track that you use in a video, a sync license. if you will, similar to what a television show or a film would need in order to place a song in their production. Placing music in a YouTube video really is functionally the same as placing music in a movie or television series. You are effectively syncing a music work to your YouTube production. Now, obviously, if you just want music, going to royalty-free sites such as Envato Elements, Epidemic Sound, and so on and so forth, these are great ways or great places to obtain legal music for your video. Which, by the way, when you purchase a track from one of these sites, you are given a license that is effectively a sync license that allows you to use that track in your production. Mind blown? Yeah, I know. So, back to Lickd. When you purchase a license to use a song in your video, that song is then fully rights cleared for use in that particular video. What's especially great about this platform is that rather than one massive flat fee that everyone has to pay regardless of your YouTube status, you pay a sliding scale according to the average views of your most recent videos. And depending on whether you are a brand channel or you're brand sponsored or just a guy like me. This means that as your channel grows and your income grows as well, you will pay more for the license. But that's fair, right? After all, once you've licensed the track, you no longer need to worry about demonetization, copyright strikes, or takedown requests, meaning that that video will continue to earn revenue for years to come. Revenue, it's yours. So with that in mind, let's dive in and take a look at the site. So the homepage is pretty standard. Nice big banner image across the top, some of their latest track offerings and so on and so forth, just to, entice you just a little bit. And of course, just to hook you in properly, 25% off coupon for your first license purchase. So if we scroll down far enough, we can actually see the pricing scale. You have the option to enter your channel here, but unless you have a seriously banging channel, chances are you'll spend more time scrolling through that list to find your channel than, you probably already have an idea of the average views you get per video. So I expect you can guess which price bracket you would be in all on your own without having to go through thousands of YouTube channels to find yours. Of course, when you sign up, you will have to add your channel and then you will know exactly which bracket you fall into. As far as the pricing goes, as you can see, it is pretty reasonable. Add a few zeros behind these numbers that you see, and I think you start to get close to what Hollywood might be paying for a popular track. This being my first video on this channel, I'm in the lowest bracket. I really was $8 to use a copyrighted, fully copyrighted track legally in my video seems more than reasonable. Of course, if I was brand sponsored, I would be paying more. But then again, this is logical as you have likely or are likely working out some set price to which you could add the cost of including a popular track to help boost them good views. Moving not so swiftly on, we can also browse tracks, although for some reason when you click on that browse button, it takes us directly to their curated playlists, which are maybe good launching points. But what is interesting is that in the upper left-hand corner, there's a little breadcrumb menu, and if you click on browse, you're taken to a list of browsing options. Makes much more sense than just having playlists. I don't recommend sorting through artists alphabetically though. That will take forever. Rather, if you know which artists or songs you are looking for, you can better make use of the search function. In the search section, you have a number of filter options. You can filter by instrument or filter out instrumental, as well as specifically seek out explicit or non-explicit tracks. Search by genre, by platform, where you plan to release your video through. Actually, this one is very handy as some tracks may only be available for licensing on a specific platform. And this will depend on the terms that the label has agreed with Lickd for their particular catalog or for specific tracks within their catalog. Another thing to be aware of is that some tracks may not actually be licensed in your territory. Despite the internet having all but removed borders for communication and art, territory licensing remains a throwback to the good old days. Anyway, to show you an example, I'm just going to look up some Iron Maiden. Big fan of The Number of the Beast. And I would love to have it in my video, but alas, not available for licensing in my country. So, okay, moving on. To soothe my aching heart, perhaps some Bullet for My Valentine. I don't need you, Number of the Beast. So, got this great Bullet for My Valentine track. I'm going to add this track to my basket, select the appropriate license, and head off to checkout. Now, once you're here, make sure you read the license agreement for the songs you intend to use. I know there's a tendency to gloss over these things when signing up to websites, installing games or applications, but these license agreements you do not want to skip because they will directly affect whether you get to keep that track in your video, whether you get to use that track in your video, not face demonetization, takedown, etc., etc. So read the licenses. Looking at this particular end user license agreement for the Bullet for My Valentine track, I would just want to point out this little bit right here where it says not Vouch integrated. Vouch is the backend that Lickd developed that essentially handles all the sort of license claims automatically through YouTube. However, not all distributors may want to use the system. Who knows why? But anyway, that is the case here with the tracks distributed by Universal Music Group. This means that they need to be cleared manually, and there are specific instructions for how to do that. So the next thing you need to check for is any additional licenses, as this is sort of a one user license agreement, but then there's potentials for extras. It seems odd not to just have to. Anyway, again, always read through these. Read through every license that comes up, to reduce the likelihood that your video will get pulled down. The process for manual clearance is explained here, so that's good. And there's a few other bits, but at the bottom, there's this interesting one where it says, if your video goes viral, instead of 500,000 views in the first 30 days, your video could be reclaimed by the rights holder. First of all, it really confused me, as I saw on the homepage, won't have to pay extra, or won't have to pay any extra for tracks or top-ups. Second, I was like, what is reclaimed by the rights holder? That makes no sense. I created the video, so I own the rights. So what could the rights holder claim? Not the video. They can claim the music in the video. So I was very confused by all this. Sent customer service an email and got some responses and so on and so forth. So while Lickd's goal really ultimately is to have a one-off license without extra fees, top-ups, one distributor doesn't seem too keen on this, and this distributor is Universal Music Group, or UMG. UMG is basically reserving the right to require repurchasing the license or purchasing an upgrade, effectively topping up the license. Additionally, while browsing through the FAQs, I discovered that UMG apparently has a clause that stipulates that they could require you to renew your license every 5 years, which also sounds suspiciously like a top-up. Now, I have to say I did not see that in the specific licensing, so it's possible that that has been renegotiated and maybe swapped out. I did not follow this up with customer service, but now that I'm thinking about it, I am going to do that after this video, after I record this video. As explained to me by customer service, this sort of top-up clause is only specific to the UMG catalog. Anything released by BMG and so on and so forth are straightforward as far as I can tell. The only thing is that you do want to make sure that the track that you are using is licensed for your platform. But other than that, the standard sort of licenses cover you without worrying about top-ups or anything like that. So again, just to hammer the point home, read the licenses before you agree to them and purchase the track. That's pretty much the site. I'm not going to walk you through how to set up an account or do any of that kind of stuff. I figure you're probably capable enough of doing this yourself. So sidebar, before we wrap up, if you recall in the beginning of the video, I opened it with Run to the Hills, which is an Iron Maiden track. And then further on, I tried to add Number of the Beast to my basket, but it was not available in my territory. So something here that's interesting to note then again is that certain tracks, even though they may be from the same artist, may be part of different catalogs owned by different labels. And therefore, just because you don't get one track by the artist you like doesn't mean that another one won't be available in your territory. So just bear that in mind. Now on to the wrap up. So what do I think of Licked? Well, first and foremost, I really appreciate what they're trying to do. Video has probably always been the future of music in many ways, but the majors seem really reluctant to embrace this rather than trying to find a way forward for them and for them and their artists. And it definitely seems like they aren't fully committing to this option either, given what's available on Licked. UMG is huge. I think they're one of the biggest, if not the biggest, publishing company out there. Their catalog is massive, but I would guess that not even 1% of their catalog is available. So no Amy Winehouse or Maroon 5, so on and so forth. I was pleasantly surprised to find From Autumn to Ashes and most, but not all of Vagrant Records' current lineup available, and nothing, I think, really from their back catalog. It was all licensed through BMG, no top-ups. Tracks didn't really fit where I was going with this video, so didn't go in there. Outside of this trend seemed to continue through most of the labels I looked up. So I kind of get the feeling that maybe publishers and labels are maybe sort of dipping their toes or their fingers into the water just to see how Licked evolves before really going all in. Regarding the interface, the browsing section, as I mentioned, is funny as it takes you to playlists and you have to then use a breadcrumb menu to see the full options list. In my communications with customer service, the lady who assisted me indicated that the web interface was going through a pretty extensive overhaul, so hopefully the browse link will become much more functional in the future. Moving on to the search interface, also some weird things going on here. Namely, the concept of what music belongs in which genre, because it's bad. When Iggy Pop and Simply Red are classified as hip-hop. And check out the offering when filtering by punk. Chill out, Ibiza, Deep House, Lounge. The genres are literally in the artist name. Licked, if you need some help. Need some help? Licked, if you want some help, give me a shout. My rates are reasonable. The only other sticking point for me was the fact that there wasn't any visible disclaimer about the special terms. They state no top-ups, but UMG has the right to require them on any of their catalog under the conditions that I mentioned earlier in the video, and I think it might be nice if there was a little asterisk after the no top-up bit with a sort of small disclaimer. Of course, if you read the FAQs, you can find the licensing conditions for UMG, but often we only go to the FAQs when we have specific questions, which, if the purchase process and everything goes smoothly, you might never actually find yourself perusing the FAQs. The customer service representative that I had communication with did say that to date, UMG has not filed any claims, but I think the website, the company, has only existed for about a year. Or a year and it was February 2020, so a year and a half going on 2 years. Anyway, time will tell. Really, other than the limited catalog at this time, something that I'm sure that they are working hard on, my gripes about the service are related to their web interface, and since that is getting an overhaul, could be that the new site addresses my concerns. So, final verdict. Yes, yes, and yes. Again, what Licked is trying to achieve is long overdue, and even if they've had to make a less than ideal agreement with Universal for access to their catalog, in all honesty, it's still not that bad. If I was a monetized channel and earning regular revenue from a video, I don't know that I'd necessarily have an issue with renewing a license 5 years on. However, there are already plenty of options that are one-time licenses, so there's that. I'm honestly looking forward to seeing how they develop and how the record industry responds to Lick's hopeful success. And, hopefully we start seeing some more of the big ticket artists' back catalogs start to appear on the site and become available for us to license. But really, definitely, if you are interested in including copyright music in your videos, specifically from, known artists, check Licked out. I've put the link in the description down below, and don't forget, you save 25% off your first license. I have to say, This is not a sponsored video. I'm making this video completely out of my own accord. I mean, if I could get sponsorship on my very first video, I would have to be doing something very special. If you've used Lickd, let me know how your experience was and what you thought about it. Thank you so much for watching this video and sticking with me through to the end. I know, first video and it's a bit of a marathon, but if you're here, I assume you like this video, so, drop me a comment down below, let me know, and tap that like button. You know how this all works, and I mean, if you didn't like it, why are you still watching? Let's be honest, you really did like it. Or me, that's also possible. I mean, I get it, this face. So just go ahead and click that like button anyway. You may as well just subscribe and maybe just hit the little notification icon. I don't know which side it's on yet. I think it's there. I don't know. Anyway, find it. You can see it. It's a little bell thing to be notified of when I post other videos. Thank you again so much for watching, and till next time.